Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good morning or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the TGR Nation Grand V. It's Season 2, round number 3. We go to the Virginia International Raceway with the South layout. I'm Alex Marshall, joined by Tristan Herbst, and our producer in the background bringing you all the camera shots this afternoon is going to be Samula Kumo. And Tristan, we've got a very interesting round coming our way. It's round number 3, different Virginia International Raceway layout. It's your first time in the box this season. Welcome in. What do you think we're going to be expecting around this circuit?
Well, I mean, one thing for sure is that Virginia is very commonly known as one of those huge tracks, lots of strategy needing to go into place. But here we are on a much shorter layout tonight on the VIR South layout. So currently the shortest layout that they offer here at Virginia. And like we've already seen in the past 2 rounds, this is not your easiest rodeo in terms of car choice to go around such a track choice. We've got a very complicated little, very light 396 Formula V car chucking around the chicanes here of the VIR South track layout. So it's going to be a very interesting one to see, especially for some of our very quick top contenders who are going to be posting their lap times in and out of this next qualifying session, followed by a mere 30-minute race to make it up to the top and potentially grab a couple of good points coming into the next round for this season of season number 2 of the TGR Nation Formula V series. So I'm really hyped for this one, Alexa. This is going to be an absolutely good race. I can't wait to see the action.
Yeah, well, the action, of course, already happened with 2 rounds, and the championship currently looks like this. Alan Degassis sits up top with 80 points to his name, and then 3 points behind is going to be Joel Bagada. He sits P number 2 with 77 points. Tied in P number 3 is going to be Daniel Taylor and Zenkar. They sit on 68 points. 66 points goes to Chris Lim in P number 5. Rob Bryant and Matthias Marin are tied in P number 6. 64 points to their name. Then tied P number 8 is 63 points for Neil Hanley and Mark Schweening. It's then going to be Michael Thiessen who rounds out the top 10 on 40 points. It then goes Sean Gapsinki, Andrew James, Scott Lanham, Alex Buber Bradley, Zach Rattray White and Gianni Lutsu. However, White does come into this as the reigning champion. However, he has only done 1 round so far this season. Of course, that being last round And looking at this right now, Alan Degassis is leading that championship. However, his average start is only P number 5.
Yeah, so that's definitely going to play a factor coming into the third round of here, because we have some championship contenders who are going to come in to try and swipe across and grab some of those top spots just before it's too late. We are only into round 3 of this event. We're still very early on in a couple of points, very easily achievable here. So, for example, we've got Zach Rattray Wright and Gianni Lutsu, both not really doing too many races so far in this season, but coming in already in this practice session, sitting P1 and P2 with the fastest 2 times of the current session. So it's going to look quite tight in qualifying. And as you mentioned, Degassis is going to have to watch out, because it's not just an easy win here, as he currently holds P1 going into round 3, because he's got a lot of contention from behind who could potentially underswipe him. But that is all going to be played out in the coming couple of minutes once we head out to track on qualifying as well as our main race, because anything can happen in a race scenario. We've got very, very nimble little cars on track right here, not the fastest top speeds, which will allow for lots and lots in action if these drivers get up close to each other, which we are going to be very exciting to see. And it's definitely going to be a good one to see, Alexa.
Yeah, and we can get more information on that as well, as if you were watching round number 1 in practice, we spoke to Matthias, who is one of the organisers for this race. Here in practice tonight, as we do have just under 5 minutes to go, so we'll get a little bit of information from him. It is Sully K, and it's very interesting track layouts and the track choices this season. Sully K, you are live on Apex Racing TV. Welcome in, and how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you very much, guys. How are you?
Doing very, very good. So, of course, you asked to join us here, of course, talking about the sponsors and the track choices coming into this season. But one thing I'm thinking about, why the Formula Vs? Of course, this is season number 2. What's so appealing about these cars when it comes down to racing action?
Oh, it's wheel to wheel. It's anyone who's done iRacing, any iRacing. Majority of people start off with either the V or the MX-5, but the racing that you get with the Formula Vs is literally wheel to wheel. And the other good thing about the Vs is, because of the draft, even if somebody is considerably faster than you, you can normally keep up with them, depending on which track you're on. So some tracks are more technical, but some tracks are very drafty, and you've got a mixture, especially in our league, you've got a mixture of iRating in terms of drivers, and you've got people like Gianni in there, Zach in there, all very, very fast drivers. But everybody's welcome. As long as you're rookie 4.0, you're welcome to the league. And I guarantee you, no matter where you are on the grid, you will be racing somebody. So it's definitely worth giving it a shot if you're thinking about it, watching now.
So, of course, we've had Lime Rock Park so far, as well as Snetterton 300. It's Virginia International Raceway South tonight. But, of course, we've got other circuits like Oklahoma Full, we've got Alton Park Island, we've got Sebring Club. What was the thought going into creating this calendar?
So, with the official racing, you have the calendar, and we've noticed over the last few seasons, it's the same layout every single time, and it is getting a little bit boring. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to try different layouts. We even have ovals. In this season, we've got 2 ovals actually, and it coincides with week 13, we've got the dirt oval, so that's going to be fun. Now, in terms of the layouts, we want to do... Now, this particular layout was used in the official calendar maybe around 2 years ago, I think it was. So it is a fun track, and you are going to see a lot of action today. There's going to be a few people spinning off. There's going to be people, driving away. It's going to be good. And in terms of track selection, we've decided to do something different than the normal calendar, so it is fun and it keeps people interested as well.
Yeah, most definitely. And we've got just about a minute before practice ends, so of course we know about the series as a sponsor, but of course them and anybody else, is there anybody else you would like to give a thanks to?
I just want to thank all the sponsors. Some of them have been anonymous. I won't mention any names now, but you know who you are. Thank you so much for sponsoring the series, and we've already started receiving funds for next season as well, which is really good. I want to also thank the two, Matthias and Todd as well. Without them, this league wouldn't be happening now. So thank you, everyone, and all the participants as well. You know, so thank you very much, everybody, and Apex TV as well. Thank you. The broadcasts have been brilliant so far.
Oh, thank you very much. Good luck tonight, and we will see you.
I'm going to need it. I'm going to need it. There's some fast guys today. Wish me luck.
Well, good luck out there. Thank you for joining us, and
no problem.
we will see you.
Thank you.
So, Tristan, that was Sully K, and personally, some very interesting information, especially ovals.
So yeah, no, definitely. Especially oval tracks here for the Formula Vs, and it's a bit of an odd one, but like you really does mention, the Formula V strive in draft. It's a very, like I mentioned just now, it's not the fastest car that you'll find within the iRacing game, but it is a great beginner car. Like you mentioned, when you're starting out on iRacing, some of your first choices are going to be the V or the MX-5 or the M2. And the V, you know, being very volatile on its downshifts and can get very technical, can also be an incredible car to drive around such a track as an oval, where drafting really does come into play. Pulling in behind somebody and gaining that speed advantage really does create for a lot of action, and that's exactly what all of these participants are striving for, is that constant action, the back and forth. They don't get to have that high-speed thrill you might see in a GT3 or some of the faster cars clocking out at about 280 k's an hour. You're looking at a little bit of a slower relative here at around 150. And so when you get into the slip of someone and you're able to fight neck and neck, wheel to wheel, it creates that illusion of pure passion coming from these drivers. And that's exactly why the Formula V shines on tracks like this. So it's going to be very interesting seeing this on VIR South. Not exactly your oval style layout, but still a great track pick for a car like this.
Yeah, and of course they're going to be wheel to wheel, side by side when we get into the racing action. But of course, qualifying, you're out there on your own and you have no draft to pick up. It's completely down to you and the pure driving in your car, because of course you're allowed 3 laps here in qualifying. You're out there on your own, nobody around you. So it is to zone in and get onto the circuit and get as many lap times in as possible with the best times. Of course, we saw in practice of what it was like between those drivers, and I am looking for White and Lutzu because we saw how fast they were in practice. But who knows, we may see an underlier or an outlier because, of course, practice, you never get the full picture, but we're about to get it here in qualifying.
No, absolutely. We cannot count out the other 24 participants that are running around track over here. And I mean, even looking at the past round 2, currently leading the championship, Alan Degassis also finished second last race, which means qualifying wouldn't have been as bad as he would have thought. So we're going to probably see his name somewhere here on the qualifying sheet, and it's going to be an interesting one to see. But like you mentioned, absolutely zero draft gets generated for any of the drivers here in qualifying. They're standalone on track, with just 3 laps of absolute blistering pace, trying to find all the traction that they can in this Formula V. Now, as I mentioned before, if anybody has driven the Formula V, which most on iRacing have, it can become a little bit of a volatile car, especially in your downshifts. It only operates around about gear 2 and 3. Gear 1 is around about your pull-off gear, and gear 4 maybe on your tracks with a good straight line. But on a track like this, gear 2 and 3 are going to be your primary choices about 90% of the time. And downshifting at the incorrect time could be an absolutely crucial error. You could see the rear end facing the front of the track, and that's not what you want in a situation like this. So we're just going to have to watch out, make sure that the drivers stay consistent, and see where everything pulls through. But currently, Rodrigo Tosta sitting on the top of the leaderboard with a 119.78. And we're seeing if anybody can counter that. Here comes Zach Rattray Wright, as you mentioned, Alexa, with a 119 flat, just pulling up to the top spot.
Yeah, just about there, and it's and he got that absolutely lovely. He is absolutely flying ahead of any other drivers, nearly 2 tenths to the next driver of Cody Deef. So that is where it sits. Lutzu did get a lap time in, only a 1:19.212 though, so not on the top step at the current moment in time. But these cars are going to come flying through. And of course, you said how easy it is to lose the car. As we've seen in the first 2 rounds, if these cars spin, they're not like other cars where they will veer out onto the grass of the circuit. They will just spin in the spot on the racing line. So that creates the interesting aspect of it, as we've got Todd going to the line, and they are going to go for their lap time now and hold on to where they will be going, trying to make their way through this circuit. And the nationalities are everywhere, as Pedacchio is going to go going to go P number 16, and now Brian Hansen goes up into P number 14. So we've got a few drivers setting lap times a little bit further down, but right now it seems like nobody's really challenging there. Of course, if the intervals pop up on the bottom of the screen, you will see little colours on the lap times. Of course, yellow, as that is going to be Wright, who goes P number 10. Of course, yellow is no overall improvement. Green is a personal fastest sector, and then purple will be overall fastest. So looking at the lap times right now, we're not seeing any session fastest, but we are seeing quite a lot of personal improvements.
Yeah, and those personal improvements are going to continue, and there goes the gearing down at the incorrect time, and the 180V pulls its magic trick, unfortunately there, just not finding the grip there, and very unfortunate, but manages to get back onto the track. But yeah, as you were mentioning, it is going to be a close one, but the nice thing is with the 3 laps preparation, each lap is going to be better and better. The driver starts to feel a little bit more comfortable in the car, the tires get up to the optimal temperature, the optimal heat, and that's exactly where the car begins to shine. It starts to feel a little bit more like you've got control in the steering wheel, and it's not just trying to drag you down. And that's what we're going to see as each driver, as you can see on the left side of your screen, the green highlights of lap times, as every driver passing the line starts to set a better lap time than their last, as the likes of Cassiano comes up to 8th position now with a better lap time set there. So great job from there from Christopher. But keep on watching though, because you currently have Rob Wright just on the back straight here of the VIR South, and Rob Wright, not Rob Wright on the screen, sorry, Rob Wright into 6th position now. Does an incredible job over there to set a 1:19.699, just breaking the 7/10ths over there and up into 6th position, which is a great job from him. And there goes the spin, unfortunately, from the gearing down incorrectly and just not finding the traction that he needs. We might see this still in the remaining 4 minutes here of this qualifying session.
Yeah, well, Cody D, fastest in Sector 1, fastest in Sector 2, and he will go to the line here, and he will go to provisional pole. 1:18.838, first driver into those at the moment in time. Lutzu, now around the final corner, it does not look like it, but he may get an improvement here. Of course, Rattray White was pole, now P2. Is there going to be Lutzu looking to dethrone him, or will he stay where he is? It looks like he will stay there. But it's very close between those 2 drivers, and he will bring it to a stop. Of course, this is the thing with these cars as well. We were talking about the speed in them, but you don't really need the full 10 minutes at some circuits. And it seems like tonight, we're not going to need the full 10 minutes for all the drivers, as some of them have returned to the pit lane already.
Yeah, no, definitely not. We're looking at about a 1:20 odd lap time here with 10 minutes. That allows for ample room to get your 3 laps in. So you've actually got a little bit of time to prep your mind, prep the nerves, and get that car going with the steering wheel in hand, trying to navigate around these tough and tight corners. But so far, it's looking good. Another car off, and that's Yusupov, just not finding the grip in the V right now. He's a little bit further down in 24th, just struggling to find that pace in the car. 1:23.2 for him, and he still has this last lap left, but I don't think it's going to be enough with that spin. That is unfortunately going to be a huge drop down in pace, and he might not even move up 1 position there. Currently 4 seconds off the board. But talking about overall pace, I mean, Alexa, look at that top 10, currently separated by not even more than a second. 1 second.025 from Cassiano down to Keith in first. So the competition is absolutely fierce here at the TGR Nation round 3 here at VIR South. Everybody is pushing themselves to the absolute limits here, trying to find that hidden pace in these cars.
Yeah, so we do continue here, and we've got just 1:30 left here in qualifying. So there's not going to be that many cars out on circuit as there was earlier on. Looking at the board, it seems only about 3 or 4 cars still out there on the circuit. We are watching Yusupov right now, and so it is Ken Poulin, Chris Lim, and Yusupov as Yusupov goes into the grass, almost got 2 tyres into it. But like we said earlier, it just spins on the line, and he just kept on going straight, but so that's back to the pit lane for him. As we go around the final few corners, it's going to be Ken Poulin. No improvements on the board for him at the moment in time, and he will come into the pit lane. Jason Archer-McMillan is going to be out there on the circuit, but is there going to be an improvement for him? That was into the pit lane. That's very interesting. As there's Chris Lim, as he's now coming through the corners. I think I was talking about Jason just before. My apologies. And now that is going to be no improvement for Chris Lim either. So that is unfortunate for him. However, I will be honest, I am very surprised that Deef is the driver up top at the moment. And to be honest, looks like nobody's going to be beating him.
Yeah, I mean, Alexa, you pulled your lucky card right there. You said we're going to be seeing some unknown names there towards the top. And Deef coming in at the first position there, rounding off. And like you mentioned as well before, practice does not sometimes show and shine what you see in qualifying. You can see Rattray White and Lutsu not able to get above Deef over there, setting a 1:18.839, almost 2/10 faster than any other driver currently out on grid. So this is going to be an interesting one, especially on our pull-off here for lap 1. Will Deef be able to maintain his hold here, coming down on the back straight, or do you think he might be under threat from Rattray White as well as Gianni Lutsu going into the first couple of corners? I think it's going to be a very, very tight one. Not much time differentiating them. Unfortunately, a little bit further on is Sean Kapinski, currently 7/10 off. So our first, second, and third within 2/10 of each other. This is going to be a tight one.
Yeah, well, you can never say never when the racing gets down to it. Of course, you've got the second page of the grid. You got Morini, Anderson, Bergada, Poulin, Bradley, Hanley, Hansen, Lim, Thiessen, James, Padacchio, as well as Yusupov in P number 24 to round out that second page. And then 2 more drivers of Archer McMillan and Mark Schweening. So we've got 2 more drivers than we did last week at the, of course, Snetterton circuit. We've got 30 minutes of racing action to come the way around here, and all the drivers are now going to sit on the grid. It seems like we're missing about 3 or 4 yet to hop onto it, so we're going to be waiting for them. It's a very interesting pit lane here, but you can see the grid on the left-hand side. Deef is on pole, Rattray White sits P number 2. All eyes here at the Virginia International Raceway on the southern layout. Eyes will go to the lights on the gantry. The green flag drops and we are racing. Very, very good start for Lutsu. Already off the mark and he is up ahead. Rattray White gets past Deef. Going and tossed, there's already up against each other. Bradley's lost out major positions there. Lutsu got that amazing start off the line. Cannot beat that. And that's Rattray White now, who is locked to that battle with Deef down into the right-hander. Gonna hold up against each other, wheel to wheel, side by side as we were expecting. Now going, he's going to get past Wright. We've also got Rogers getting past Kapsinski. Well, nice and clean though from the racing action that we have seen as the drivers are going to head downhill. That's going to be off and into the grass. That was Deef in the black car, and Kapsinski has lost out on the opening lap. He's down a few positions. Cody Deef got absolutely caught on that start. And that is going to be a nice and clean, but what a start by Lutsu.
Absolutely incredible stuff, and exactly what we expected to see on the launch of this a phenomenal race. Gianni Lutsu finding the inside and getting the launch control under maintenance over there with the Formula V, but now we can't even struggle over the main race and the main start. Let's go back towards the start. Let's look at Gianni Lutsu. Just behind there, you can see Cody Deep up in front, and I'm sure getting a little bit of a better start. These cars tend to spin a lot on start if you don't maintain it, and you can see Lutsu just a much better launch control, getting that car up into the revs, up into third gear already, up on the inside before the gap can be closed, and that's it. The game is over. He's already up into first and creating his gap, but now his time needs to come. Another 29 minutes around the circuit here, trying to hold it off. Todd Going, holding off 3 positions up already into lap number 2, but he's got lots of pressure behind. There's loads of fighting, wheel-to-wheel bumpering going on, and Christopher Cassiano, a little bit of bumping, gets pushed off the track, but he manages to recover his car. Now chasing onto the back of Joel Bergada, and just behind is Chris Lim, trying to find as much gap as he can. But this is the thing with our Formula Vs. It's all about that slip, trying to get that draft, and the spin. Unfortunately, Cassiano gets a little bit of a tap from the rear there and loses control. Thankfully, a quick recovery back onto the track, but that's a huge position loss. We've got another car, that's Lachlan Robinson, just off the track, also not finding the grip needed in the Formula V, manages to rejoin safely, but that is a huge loss for him. Neil Hanley gets a position up on him, but as you can see, my word, Alexa, this is non-stop action, constant wheel-to-wheel. There's a battle at every single corner here at VIR South.
Yeah, it's going to be up against them. Now down the inside, looking, is Archer McMillan up against them, wheel-to-wheel, side-by-side, and they're gonna fight it down the main straight against each other. Going gets past Chan up ahead, and now on the main straight, you've got so many cars here. One ahead with about 6 astern, and it is fighting for every inch that they can get. The wheel spin is being combated with absolute perfection by all of these drivers, and now going to go 3 wide in turn number 1, and that is going to be Michael Feaston. No, in fact, that's going to be James actually, who would go into to one of the drivers. I think it was somebody's round. That is Chris Lim. 3 cars went round. Bagada has got the meatball flag. So
that is super unfortunate.
As Morini is loads of people with meatballs. So that is. So we've had about 3 incidents, and that is not a rejoin that Rogers would have wanted. We've got so many meatballs happening, so something has happened. The first 2 laps were nice and clean. However, lap 3, it seems like all the contacts came at once.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so many meatballs filling up the side of the screen, and for anybody watching this now, not knowing what this is, the meatball, as commonly referred to in the iRacing community, the black and orange flag refers to too much physical damage on the car, and you need to come in to get that fixed because it is deemed unsafe on track. And so there is loads and loads going on over here. As you can see, multiple drivers, Ken Poland pulling into the pit lane, as well as Rogers just behind him, Benjamin Rogers, and 4 cars currently stacked behind each other. But we cannot sit and wait on the cars in the pit lane. We've got too much action going on in the track. Zachary Trey White now trying to gain back onto that lead. He won last week at Snetterton. He wants to do the same and keep his consistency up, but he's got another incredibly fast and consistent driver up ahead. Gianni Lutsu is in his A game right now with that incredible launch. He's gained the confidence and now just trying to steer that car home. He's got another 25 minutes to keep on pushing on, but Zach not looking to give it up. Currently 4 tenths behind him, is going to continue to push on until the final moments over here and hoping he does not lose the car whatsoever. Cody Deeth trying to recover from that poor launch he had on the start. He's got Kapinski just behind him as well, who's not going to make this an easy race for him. So we've got multiple drivers, but now looking back on a little bit of action, this is Cody Deeth right on the backside of Gianni Lutsu. Look at the drafting on the back straight here of VIR South as all the cars getting in action. A little bit of a late break there from Cody Deeth and just missing the braking point, but saves that car. Miraculous save, and that's exactly how we got into the battle with Kapinski and lost all of that time against Rattray White.
Yeah, fastest man out on track right now is Zach White. He is holding on to it and he's chasing it down Lutsu. Lutsu got away on that start, but the gap has been closing in lap after lap. Looking to make it 2 in a row is going to be White, and but he has to get past that purple car in front. Down the hill, the elevation, the undulation, it can cause the car to unsettle sometimes as Hansen gets past Hanley. So the battle of the H's happened further back, up the hill, over the crest, through the right-hander, a little bit blind to some, but now through this right-hander as well, looking for the inside, but he's a bit too far back. He is not going to give this position up just yet, as Schweening is going to lose out a few positions there. So something happened. Did he go wide? As Hanley and Hansen still going at it further back. But this battle between the leaders is going on since the start of this lap and the lap before. They're going to continue battling as further down the Irishman and the American continue to fight as well. You've also got Deef versus Gipsinki, a little bit behind as well, so you can see those two in the background. Heading now down past the pit lane exit, down towards turn number 1. These drivers are giving a fight and a little bit of a draft. It's going to be there for them, but a move to the inside would be the choice. However, personally, I feel like Rattray White may be playing the long game here, as we've got a cluster of cars back here. You've got Bradley, you've got Hanley, you've got Casino and Thiessen. So you've got a big fight between all these drivers, as Bradley is up 6 positions since the race start.
Absolutely incredible stuff here. Alex Bradley now up 5 positions. Oh, Christopher Cassiano just not finding the traction on the outside, and everybody is trying to find that gap and gain a position here. It's all about the draft. This is almost like a mini NASCAR series with all this draft. And as you can see, the cars pulling on each other. The dive looking up on the inside there. Neil Hanley is got a little bit of pressure behind him there, because Alex Bradley up 5 positions up on the inside now, gets a beautiful position and manages to control that Formula V absolutely incredibly. And now the likes of Hanley under pressure from Mark Schweening, and another good position from the pink Formula V up onto the inside, and Cassiano coming back after dropping off onto the side of the circuit is now gaining that slip. Neil Hanley loses 4 positions in one little sector, and that is an incredible loss, because Archer McMillan also finding the gap there with his beautifully colored blue Formula V, trying to now get past Cassiano. The battle is intense over here, but back up to the top, Zach Rattray White makes the inside dive onto the likes of Lutzu and holds front position. And now it's all backwards, because vice versa now switches. Zach Rattray White now has to defend. It's no longer the attack for him. He's got to now watch out behind, because Lutzu, loads and loads of courage under that hood, is going to try and find a gap around the Rattray driver, the Rattray White driver of Zach, who's going to continue to push in his Formula V, and there's constant action up and down this grid. Now Lutzu really looking to find his pace back. The number 58 car wants redemption, but they're going to start to find the back marker traffic. It's not the biggest circuit here that we have, so there is going to be a couple of back markers, and just ahead there of Zach White, you can already see the first back marker trying to recover himself. But here we go, Lutzu looking around, trying to get as much slip. This could be a position going onto the back straight. This is going to be an extremely close one.
Yeah, I do believe he actually got it done on the main straight on the previous lap. Let's see if Lutzu can actually fight back for it, or if White is going to create a gap down the main straight. It seems like the draft is going to be there for him. Lutzu could look for an inside, and you got so much action as we approach the 10-minute mark. We're not even 1/3 through this race yet, and there's already been so much to watch and fight for. Going into turn number 1 now, it's going to be a good defense for him, and that is going to stay where he is for the time being. You've got so many drivers fighting their way through. Of course, Schweening did start on the back row. He's now up in the P number 15. A good recovery drive from him in the first part of this race. And now you've got this fight here. 4 different drivers all up against each other. Of course, it's going to be all to play for. You've got Wright, you've got Going, you've got Marion, and you've got Can. So you've got these 4 drivers battling for these positions here, as Yusupov gets past Morony further back on the timing board. You can see it. They're going to go down the inside. It's going to be massive contact. Round both of them go. Third car could not do much there. Must have been pulling. And now that is going to be unfortunate for both of those drivers. Both spinning round just as we switch to it. And 3 abreast into a singular corner. It never really ends well.
No, unfortunately, and Mirazam Yusupov there getting stuck just behind the right side tire barrier there, having to actually put the car into reverse and try and navigate back around onto track. But now thankfully back up, still 4 positions up. He did start a little bit back on the starting grid, but now trying to find that pace again. He's had a couple of incidents throughout this whole race, and he's really just trying to forget about the past 10 minutes. He's got a full 20 minutes ahead that he has time for redemption, and he's going to have to try and find some place to gain on. He's got a couple of cars ahead. They're not close enough to give him the draft that he wants to. So for now, for Yusupov, it's going to be a constant, good amount of consistent laps. He's going to have to try and push through. But now the fighting continues. 12th position, Michael Thiessen is under pressure from, once again, Cassiano dives up on the inside. It's a late break. doesn't get the position done and misses the breaking point. Once again to the outside, Neil Handley once again coming back up in the fight right now. The battle for 11th is going on, and Neil Handley back up into the front of Cassiano, but it's not over yet. We've seen this battle already. It's like deja vu from last lap, because Cassiano getting closer to the rear gearbox there of Handley, and we know how these cars can be. One minor mistake and that's it. We've seen it a couple of times from some of the drivers, and it ruins your race. It ruins the position that you're in. But thankfully, like we mentioned, still a good 18 minutes left of this race to try and make a difference. But Zach White, once again, loads of pressure from behind, back to back there. The gearbox is feeling that pink nose just on the backside of it, as Lutsu is trying to find a way around White, who is defending this like an absolute champion. But Lutsu trying to recover and maintain as close of a gap as possible. He does not want to fall off here. Remember, they don't want to fight too hard because Gapinski is coming in from behind. He could potentially join on this fight. The fight for fourth is also still lighting up, but this is going to continue for the next 18 minutes. The two drivers up in front continuously, the number 58 and 17, switching positions back and forth. A little bit further on though, Todd Going moving up to the front of the P4 train, as he's got Wright and Marin and Khan behind them, trying to fight around there. And this is going to be consistent action between all of these Vs.
Yeah, the V's fight, and now you go into the right-hander. You were talking about so many people losing it. It seems like turn number 1 is the big place where we've seen quite a lot of drivers go off this race. Hopefully in the second half there won't be as many happening, but this four-car fight is now going to continue against them, as Cody Deef is, I believe, out, disconnected, we're getting told in our ear. So the pole sitter is completely out of this race, and now we've got lap traffic in the way of the leaders. Of course, reigning champion Ratray White is going to try to fend from Lutsu. He is defending his crown, and he is defending this race position, and that lap traffic could have really hindered him, but it seems like he's going to hold on to it again. In fact, it may have helped him, especially into turn number 1. But now as you head downhill, deeper into VIR South, it's going now. These two drivers giving everything. Lutsu, of course, had that amazing race start as we approached the halfway mark. However, Ratray White, of course, got back up with Rogers Hanley also making his way. Rogers and Hanley battling further back. We've got Schweening and Cassiano as well. You've got so many fights, and Schweening has been absolutely storming his way through the field since the race start. One of the two drivers who started on the back row now up into the top 12. If I were him, I would say knock knock, top 10, here we come.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got 4 drivers basically highlighted here. I mean, Hansen, Schweening, Thiessen, as well as Archer McMillan, all 8 and above positions gained this race already. I mean, Schweening, like you said, from the back, dominating and scrapping through this grid, 14 positions up in a Formula V race. That is incredibly impressive. But now he's got a fight at his hands, and Cassiano, who's also been an absolute threat this race, has continuously been fighting up and down this grid, finds his way up into the inside. It's almost 3 wide, as the likes of Thiessen, or is that Rogers, trying to push in, and Rogers actually pushing in front of the likes of Schweening. And now it's a 3-way fight going onto the back straight here. Leading is Cassiano, but there's loads and loads of drag here, loads and loads of draft here, sorry, as they head onto the back straight over here, onto the next starting of the lap. And look at those cars drafting each other. It is bumper to bumper, gearbox to nose, as these Formula Vs try to navigate around. You can see everybody shifting, trying to find a gap. Now, will we have another T1 incident? We can see some brake lock as Mark Schweening trying to navigate and trying to find a gap, locks the rears a little bit there. He's now got the likes of Neil Hanley just a little bit further behind. This battle is continuing to push on as Cassiano still trying to find a way around, but it's currently Rogers, Benjamin Rogers, leading this little train. The battle for 12th is going on, and just a little bit in front of them is the likes of Thiessen, who is also just trying to push away from this fight and not get involved too much. Still in front though, Gianni Lutsu now does another switch over. I have a feeling, Alexa, we're going to see this continuously throughout this race between the top 2 over here, because Gianni Lutsu holds the inside line. He's not going to allow for the dive from Zach White, and Zach White goes around the outside and maintains it. Will it be a brake lock? He manages turn 1's braking zone like an absolute champion. The reigning champion, showing his experience under the belt, continues to pulsate through into P1.
holding on to it like he does, and he's now back up in the P1. Of course, when we were watching that battle with Cassiano as well, seemingly brake clock is a big issue there. You could see the smoke coming up from the American driver, and now there's even more brake clock, it seems, from these fights, as they're now up against each other. Maybe a little dirt being kicked into the atmosphere as well. You've got so many drivers fighting each other as you head through these parts of the circuit. You've got Can, you've got Marin, you've got Wright, and you've got Going, all in this battle for P4, and it's a 4-car train. Going leads with 3 astern, and it is now onto the main back part of this circuit. Sector number 3 is coming up thick and fast, and now you see this is how short the circuit is. You can see the pit lane from the back part of the circuit, and now into the final few corners. It's a long right-hander, basically triple apex. Then onto the main straight again. The draft will come into play. Lutsu gets past Ratro White again, as you see on the timing board. And now it's all these drivers fighting for position, skirmishing up and down, and we're approaching those final 10 minutes. So the question is, how much is there going to be? Have some people been holding off? Have some people been pushing a bit too hard? We're going to find out as we approach the final third of this race around the Virginia International Raceway, of course, the South layout. So now we've got all these drivers fighting against each other, and personally, this is one of the best racing action I've seen this season. Bradley and Hansen locked in that fight a little further down as well. Bradley getting past Hansen, as you now got Marin, who's having to defend. It looked like Can was going to go for the move, but unable to make it through that time. Maybe covers off. Yes, he does. Marin moves through, and he is going to hold on to that position. But the inside line, Can is wanting it every single turn.
Yeah, absolutely. The strategies are starting to pull out of here with just 12 minutes left of racing here. The cars are starting to become light on fuel. The tires are beginning to wear a little bit more. And like you said, Alexa, some drivers might have been pushing their absolute hearts out, trying to maintain or even gain a couple of positions. But this is where we might see some strikers, Yusupov, trying to pull it back up from the grave, as he's had a couple of mistakes in the past couple of minutes, and trying to find traction again. But this is where we might see some of those underdog heroes coming with a still very, very nicely developed vehicle that hasn't been pushed just too far yet off the limit, now potentially coming to strike. Nathan Maroney just on the back gearbox there of the likes of Rodrigo Tostas, the Brazilian driver, flexing that nationality on the car. Amazing livery there as well. But now this is going to be a very good fight as it comes around towards the next part of the circuit. And as you can see, Maroney is hungry for the position, dives up on the inside. Tostas hangs around the outside. It almost looks like he gave him that position, but the next corner is an inside, and just not fast enough. Someone's off, and that's Salman Khan. Loses out the battle of 4th, down to 8th, and he's now 1 position down on his starting delta. Let's go back and see what happened there. In the battle over there, you can see just in front of him is the likes of Matthias Marin, and going through the down section here, VIR South just bumps the back, not able to recover the VV, and like we call it, the 180 car performs its magic trick and faces towards the back start of the track, having to try and recover himself now. He does still have about 10 minutes left of racing here, but super unfortunate from Salman Khan, all the way from P5 to P8. He does have a little bit of time, but unfortunately 25 seconds gap between him and the leader, and about a good 10 seconds gap from him and the driver in front. But again, the action does not stop. Zach White and the likes of Gianni Lutsu on top of each other here. The dogs are fighting, and it's looking like constant action. Look at Gianni Lutsu pushing that nose. Look at the pressure that Zach White is experiencing. He's starting to wobble as the tires are becoming way more worn and the fuel tank becomes lighter. The car almost becomes like a rocket ship compared. Oh, and the switchback from Gianni Lutsu coming into the inside. Incredible switchback, but now it could be the opposite for turns, because here comes Zach White with another switchback, braking a little bit early and generating a little bit more pull speed back into the beginning. My goodness, Alexa, the action is non-stop here.
The action never stops, and now you've got these drivers. That was a good-looking switchback. Now looks to the outside line, as you've also got Maroney and Tostes, who continue their fight a little bit further back. That is a car off, and that is going to be Rodrigo Tostes. It looked like he was straight on, possibly a spin. So we have no idea what happened there. Meatball flag, the black and orange out for Maroney. So it is going into the pit lane. We will get a replay here of what happened to Rodrigo Tostes. So coming through the right-hander, is it a lock-up or is it contact? Of course, we know what iRacing's like. Oh no! So the orange car, that was going to be Nathan Moroni, ended up going deep, half spun it, and then Tostes would end up going into him. So that's why he got the meatball, and that's why Tostes was where he was. And that's extremely unfortunate for what happened to both of those drivers. I don't think there was much either of them could do there in that penultimate corner. But now we look to the leaders once again with about 8 minutes left on the clock, and I'm going to say this now, I think these two are going to be fighting to the very last second.
No, absolutely. This might even be a Lightning McQueen moment over the line here. 8 minutes left to go. We might see side-by-side action going onto the back straight. A little bit of off-track action there from Todd Going. Really starting to struggle there with the grip provided by his V. Still 7 positions up, but the race is not over. Rob Wright just behind him, and the likes of Matthias Marin are not going to just let him make that mistake and say, listen, we'll give you the time, because that's not how racing works. Back on the backside of them, gearbox to nose once again, swinging around to our back straight, the triple apex just being performed, and now it's all about who got the better exit, who generated the most amount of speed. And as you can see, Matthias Marin pulling up closer and closer, but once again another dive, because Gianni Lutsu has lost out once again to Zach Rattray White, and now trying to navigate around the back markers. And once again, Zach into the beginning position of the race here, P1, and Gianni Lutsu really just trying to find his way around, and it's going to be constant pressure. We've seen what Lutsu can do to White. We've seen the pressure he can apply. We've seen how he can make that car lose a little bit of traction. Will he do another weird and very, very manipulative switchback to try and get White to make a mistake? We'll have to see, because we've got 7 minutes left of racing. Both drivers now touching the dirt. You can see it's starting to get extremely tight out there, but this is not going to be an easy dog down. As we mentioned before by Alexa, these guys are going to be fighting up until the last seconds of this race. Lutsu now looking for that gap, looking up the inside, looking up the outside. He doesn't have the position yet to dive, and he's going to have to hold on to the back straight. Who's going to have the better exit here? Coming on to the wide. They both go wide on the curb, which is legal in the track regulations. But now it's going to be down to the back straight. Maybe the back markers could be played as advantage, because White gets a little bit of a pull from the back marker. Lutsu does as well. And now fighting down the back straight. Lutsu's got the outside line. Zach holding the inside. He does not want to be dived again, and holds off, trying to hold this position. He's got 6 minutes left. Dives slightly earlier, but Lutsu dives later, almost snatching the inside line there.
Switchback was the possibility, decided not to take it, so it's unfortunate in that time as well. Looking for the outside now, up and through the little dip in the circuit, round the outside, through the left-hander, but now White is going to hold on to it. Seemingly a little bit more downforce on his car through that part of the course, as he holds onto that line with the amount of speed that he is driving with. And now through this again, it seems like Lutsu is straight line, but Rattray White has cornering through this little curve. You've got so many different corners around this circuit on such a short layout. You've got to wonder how the setups have been made. Look to the inside, very small gap. Will end up taking it. Lutsu with Rattray White. Lutsu on the inside. Rattray on the outside. Zach White is going to lose out on the lead again. Lutsu gets up there onto the main straight, but now the slipstream is there for Rattray. Here we go, down the main straight one more time. Off to not bump draft, he wants the clean air. But now, as we approach 5 minutes remaining, as we are now in the final 5, up against this, looks to the inside, into the lead, he's got the nose ahead. Who will come out on top in turn number 1 though? Down the inside, it will be Zach White. Reigning champion, Lutsu defends it back. Up and done. Is it there though? Through the left-hander, it will be Zach who has the advantage. Now into the right-hander, dip over the crest, downhill, through the right-hander again. Wheel to wheel, side by side. Lutsu will hold on to that position, and he is going to stay in P number 1 once again. Back and forth, back and forth. That's been the story between these two the entire race, as Zach White once again looks for the inside line. But it seems like Lutsu just had way too much overspeed, as we've got Rogers and Bradley right now. Also going to have Hansen, I believe, in there as well. Down the inside, Hansen will get the move done. Hey, into the grass a little bit. You saw the dirt get kicked up, Bradley now loses out on those positions. You've got Hansen who's got ahead of him. I mean, you've got Rogers as well. So these drivers are fighting, and they are not giving any space. We've been watching the leaders for so long. We're going to show these little battles. Fastest lap right now goes to Rattray White, but Matthias Marin, 6 positions up since the race start. Locked in this fight. It's going to lose out though. Robinson goes down the inside. Contact with Marin. And now that's going to cause the car to bump up a little bit. It did go on 3 wheels for a moment. So now down the main straight as well, you've got all these drivers. There's a car in the pits. Zach White takes the lead once again from Lutzu. And we are approaching closer and closer to that checkered flag. And you can never say never with all this racing action that is happening as Lutzu once again into the lead as they still battle side by side. They have to give the space to each other. The spotter's in the ear, and it's going to be up and done. These drivers absolutely astounding as we head into the right-hander.
Absolutely incredible stuff. There is action up and down this grid, and it's been non-stop tonight. Matthias Martin almost looked like he was going to ramp up on top of that other vehicle. They just managed to clip the tire. But back onto the main race over here. Lutzu still holding that inside. Look at the defense there. This guy's pulling Alonso tactics over here, holding on that inside line and not letting White even think about sticking his nose there. But now back onto the main straight. Who got a better exit here? And it looks like Lutzu's going to hold it, but White will have the slip. And it looks like Lutzu's too far back from any back marker to try and gain the slip. Now, side by side, once again, there's a back marker in contention just a little bit further behind who could come into play. He's got the slip. He's pulling up close. I'm not too sure he's going to interfere here. But now, onto the outside is White. Lutzu holding onto the inside. Dives inside just into the first corner to try and block off White. But now it's going to be down to the next section because once again, we go through our downhill left and right as now White gets ahead. And it almost looked like Lutzu pulled back a little bit there. A good amount of space has been generated between the two cars. And White can actually breathe for once that he hasn't been able to do in the past 21 laps. That's been fighting back and forth with Lutzu. And now a back marker getting placed in between the two. And they'll make quick work to get back around him. And now White will have to try and hold on to this with Lutzu just behind, not trying to let this go anytime soon. He's made a little bit of a mistake there in the downhill section by giving him a little bit of breathing room. I'm sure he himself needed the breathing room there because it's been non-stop for these two drivers for the past 29 minutes. But now we have 1 minute to go on this clock before these drivers face the checkered flag. Who is going to do it? It is such a championship contention over here for who could potentially generate the most points after this race. And I'm sure the live grandstand is wondering what on earth is going on here because once again the switchback happens and Lutzu holding on to the inside line and Zach White forced to the outside. Lutzu's going to hold it. Who's it going to be coming into turn 1? Who will break earlier? Who will break later? And I think Lutzu's going to defend it once again, break slightly earlier. White holding onto the outside line, takes a slightly different course of action, dies up on the inside. Is it going to be enough, though, to rotate around the downhill chicane? I don't think so. And back behind, this is going to be close.
Final lap does now continue. You got Lutzu, and you got to wonder, did he back off on the previous lap because he wanted it to get busy, he wanted to get it done on this one. Of course, final lap, it's going to be harder for Rattray White to overtake him. But now the reigning champion wants to go double. He won a Snetter to the Lutzu is going to go very, very deep. Zach White's going to be right there up against them. And now they're going to go wheel to wheel in this final lap. Into these final corners. It's going to be lining McQueen style from cars. Like you said earlier, Tristan, it seems. Now into the downhill section. Up through the right-hander. The checkered flag will be flying. And it's now going to be Zach White who will take the lead. Lutzu's going to be there for him. Wheel to wheel, side by side. Going to be a drag race between these two drivers as they head to the line. But it's going to be Zach White who will go 2 in a row. He wins here at Virginia International Raceway South. It's then going to be Lutzu P2, Gabsinki P3, and you've got so many more battles happening. You've got Robinson going, Marin right now across the line. You've got Chan, you've got Can, who's going to be coming across next. You've got a few of the lap cars now coming in the line. What a fight between these drivers, and it seems like Christopher Cassiano is still going to be defending here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the race is over for the leaders, but it's not over for some of the mid-pack fighters. Yeah, Cassiano is trying to hold on to 12th position. He does have contention from Thiessen behind. I don't think it's going to be enough. as he should be able to hold on, and that's across the line in 12th. But my goodness, I literally called it. The Lightning McQueen moment would come in, and it is exactly what happened there for Zach White and Gianni Lutsu. And I think White just was able to stick his tongue out there and grab the win. Look at the gap, 600ths of a second between White and Lutsu. Incredible amount of performance and competition here in the TGR Nation Formula V Championship of the Year for Season 2, Round 3 at VIR South. It has been an incredible race so far. A little bit of fighting still going on, but the lap has been completed. It's checkered flags all over the circuit. What a race it has been, Alexa.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. And it now comes down to this. We will get the classifications very, very shortly of where it sits over the timing. It is Zach Rattray White, defending champion, who ends up winning here tonight. And apparently Gapinski would end up P number 2, as did Lutsu actually get a penalty, because he's a lot lower down on the race results. But it's then Lachlan D. Robinson with Todd Going, Matthias Marin, Rob Wright, as then it's Sulman Chan. It's then Gianni Lutsu with Benjamin Rogers, and Brian Hansen rounds out the top 10. It's then going to be Bradley, Cassiano, Thiessen, Schweening, Pauling, Hanley, Archer McMillan. Bagada lines up in P number 18 at the end of the race. It's then going to be James Anderson, Lim, Padacchio, Yusupov, Moroni, Tostes, and then of course Cody Deef did have that disconnect. Tostes retiring after that damage he picked up earlier on in the race as well. Now,
man,
of course, we did see that. We did see that there. Lutsu is P2 on our timings, but classification is further down. So, did he get a penalty we're not aware of?
Wow, okay, so incident limit for Lutsu coming into the final sectors of this lap. That is super unfortunate for him. And according to our standings, getting pushed down to 8th position, which means Gapinski takes 2nd position behind Zach White. And my goodness, another twist of events here at round 3 at VIR South. The action just doesn't even stop. The cars have crossed the checkered line, Alexa, but the action it's even happening here in the standings board.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him come to the line, and we didn't see any indication, but after the race, so that Lutsu has a major drop there, so you can only imagine how that is going to be feeling in that final lap as well, with how close they were fighting against each other. It just shows how Formula V can be, because it's never over till it's over, and even when it's over on track, it's never over in the standings. So of course, Rattray White, that's Zach, does win there, but you've got to feel bad for Lutsu. But Gapsinki, who realistically, I don't think we saw all that race apart from lap 1, gets promoted to P number 2, and then Robinson, P number 3.
Yeah, absolutely. A very, very different change of events. But I think a round of applause still to all the drivers. We had some incredible competition. I mean, shout out as well to some of those kings who tried to fight from the back. I mean, the likes of Schweening, who really, really put his nose into every fight and committed so hard, gained up to over 14 positions at one stage of that race. But I mean, my goodness, Alexa, what an incredible race this was to watch and commentate on. And the Vs really do bring the action. We had a couple of incidents around the race, but really overall, it was like right down to the point. Really good driving, great sportsmanship shown throughout the whole entire race of 30 minutes here, and constant up and down action here for the Formula Vs. The draft was strong here at VIR South, but the clear winner came across today, Zach White, who made an incredible fight up and down for an entire 30 minutes since the start line. Has been back and forth with Gianni Lutsu, and like we spoke about earlier, super unfortunate for getting the incident point exceeding for Lutsu, getting booted down to 8th position. But Gapinski also incredibly consistent drive to him, maintaining 2nd position. We didn't see him on camera much, but that's also because he didn't have any incidents really. I mean, he really kept that car nice and clean. There wasn't too much to speak on about that. So incredible job there for 2nd. And then obviously, like you mentioned, we even saw the likes of Robinson coming in to grab a 3rd position there. So great stuff. We've got loads of differentiation on our standings leaderboard here, and I can't wait to see what happens at Cadwell Park next week.
Yeah, well, that is what's going to be coming next week, as it does seem like we don't have anybody to interview. So let's ram the... Well, we do have 2 minutes, so we'll see if anybody hops in for an interview very, very quickly. However, we do see all these drivers, so many cars out there tonight, and Formula V, first ever time, I've only done 3 rounds of this, only done 3 rounds ever of Formula V, and personally, one of the best cars out there. Of course, like Sully said earlier, one of the beginner cars which many people choose in iRacing. And we will do this very, very quick. We can do this very, very quickly. Tristan, I will let you take this one as I did the start. Matthias Marin, you are live on Apex Racing TV.
Hey guys, firstly, I'd like to just say welcome to the commentary box, Mr. Matthias. Dude, we saw you with constant action up and down the grid. Incredible race there for you, finishing neatly up towards the top of the grid. And neat 6th position there for you, actually 5th after the standings change. So that's a top 5 finish for you. I'm sure you're super stoked about that.
Yeah, normally I'm a mid-pack driver, so I think this is my highest finish in a V for sure.
Oh, that's
really exciting there, having like the pack there, like just all 4 of us.
100%. I mean, we had cameras on you guys constantly. The 4 of you guys, you, Rob, Going, and Khan. Constant action up and down. Wanted to mention that little incident that you had coming onto the back straight. You were on 3 wheels there, almost potentially losing grip there on that Formula V. How did that feel for you, being a little bit up towards the air, pointing upwards?
Oh, it was scary because I thought I wasn't going to finish the race, and after having driven it so well for the rest of it. So I don't know, I managed to save it and I just kept going.
Well, you did an incredible job at that. You managed to recover the car. You managed to keep on pushing, and a top 5 has been achieved. 6 positions gained. How did qualifying go? I mean, obviously 6 positions gained is a good amount, meaning you started a little bit further back towards 12th or 11th. And so how was qualifying? How did the car feel?
It's really light, and I've never actually driven this track before up until today. And so it was really challenging in trying to get like the corners right and all of that, and trying to get good exits, which is so important in the V. But in the race, you have the draft and you have the people around you so that you have to avoid, and I just managed to just keep getting every lap a little bit faster.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we saw the development of this car. It gets better every single lap that you drive it. But I mean, that once again is the end of the race here at the likes of VIR South. How are you feeling going into Cadwell Park next week for round 4 of the TGR Nation Formula V event? I mean, 5th position here today. You're wanting to replicate that surely next week.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to try to get better every time. And then I'm going to try to practice Cadwell a little bit more, because I've also never driven it. And so it'll be tricky going up against all of these guys that are extra fast, and they're always competitive. So it's a pleasure being racing with them.
Absolutely. But once again, phenomenal job up in 5th position with a great finish, great qualifying, and a great overall consistent pace around this race. Thank you so much for the interview. I hope you have a great night further, and we'll see you next week at Cadwell.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
With that, unfortunately, we are... yes, indeed. So before we round out, we'll do this very, very quickly. Lutzu, you are live on Apex Racing TV. Of course, we saw what's happened there at the end very quickly. Let's go through it. What happened on your side of things?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think obviously with the 13 incident point limit throughout the 30-minute race, I think sometimes it adds up super quickly without you really realizing. And yeah, unfortunately, just got a good run on Zach there out of the last corner, and yeah, got a bit of a net code 4x on the exit there, and that cost me the potential win, and obviously the second place finish there. But look, I think you live and you learn from those experiences. But I think nonetheless, me and Zach had a really good race, and it was a fun race overall. So yeah, obviously P8 isn't the best way to finish up there, but I mean, look, it's a long season, and yeah, I'm sure we'll come back somewhere else.
Yeah, well, it is going to be at Cadwell Park next week. Just this one real quick. What's the plan going in there, and is there anybody you'd like to give a thanks to?
Yeah, no, Cadwell's always an interesting one. We went there last season and it turned out to be pretty good. So I think, yeah, do a few laps there, see what's going on, and I think the racing will be quite close, so it'll be good. But no, big thank you to you guys for putting on the show here today. Big thanks to Matthias and Sully, obviously for the organisation, and yeah, I guess thanks to all the drivers for coming out and having a good time. And yeah, obviously big props to Zach for the good race today. So yeah, looking forward to next week.
Well, thank you for joining us, and hopefully you have a good race, a good night, and hopefully a better race next week. Good night.
Cheers, guys. Thank you. Have a good one. Cheers.
So, Tristan, we have Cadwell Park next week. This was Virginia International Raceway South. A very interesting race. Cadwell next week, what do you think we can expect?
I mean, dude, this has been, like you say, a phenomenal race here. Constant competition up and down, especially with our first and second runners, but not only them. The mid-pack was constant fighting, so I'm expecting nothing but what I saw from tonight at Cadwell Park. Knowing it is also probably going to be a very, very tight circuit where loads and loads of action points can happen. We're going to have the cam on multiple shots where we could potentially be seeing some action, and I'm telling you now, we're going to see the same type of action we saw tonight. Who wins next week? It's a tight one. We've got loads of great drivers, and yeah, obviously we've got the Mr. DeGassis, who unfortunately doesn't seem to have been here tonight, who's going to want to try and hold on to his championship lead next week. But Zach White and Gianni Lutsu are going to be contending next week, and I cannot wait to see what they are able to mix up next week.
Yep, Cadwell Park comes to you next week. Exact same time, exact same place. This has been season 2, round number 3 of course the TGR Nation Formula the Grand V. Samuel's bringing you all the camera shots in the background. I've been joined by Tristan. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good night.